Hey there, friends. Hope you're having a good day. Leanne at Creatively Free to Be Me has a Patreon site, and her July challenge to her Patreon folks is to rethink, reuse a supply that you used to use a whole lot that you never hardly even touch anymore. And that was an exciting challenge because the very first thing that popped into my head was paper bags. Way back when, and my art journey is about 7 years old, I didn't have paper. And at that time, there were extremely limited resources there was no going down to the craft store and buying a $20 thing of paper or even a $10 thing of paper. So I learned to use paper bags. They are super cool to work with. They're free, you know. If you go to Lidl, they're like 7 cents each, but no big deal there. They're one of the cheapest, nicest, best paper crafting supplies in the world. I love a paper bag. Today I am doing Leanne's challenge. I'm altering this paper bag, but I'm also using what I make to cover this very cool Hallmark address book that I got during a recent trip. We went to the ASPCA thrift store in Fort Mill, and that's where I got this. And I think it's like maybe 1984. I thought it had a calendar in it, but I don't think it does. Anyway, it's really super cool, and I really do love it. I'm not sure if I will use it or if I will put it in the Etsy shop for sale. But I thought you guys might like to follow along, and it might offer you an opportunity to revisit, you know, something that maybe you loved and used a long time ago, whether it's pastels or watercolors or acrylics or Neocolor 2 markers or whatever, you know, whatever you used to use that you don't use much anymore. I have kind of cut my paper bag, and I wanted to just sort of show you guys. Paper bags usually have a side like this, and it's got a seam down it right here. So if you're doing a bigger project like the one that I'm doing, you don't really want to use the side with the seam. You know, save that for like smaller projects. This is the piece of paper that I'm going to use. Now, it is from the side of the bag. These are the sides of the bag. I am cutting off the sides of the bag because I don't need that right this minute. So we'll go ahead and cut those off. I'm going to measure my book again to make sure that I don't cut off too much. Yep, that's what I want. I want this part right here. And then I'll cut this side of the bag off. I used paper bags as my desk pad, you know, for my drop paper on my desk for just years and years, just so long. This is really what I started out using. So let's alter this bag. Like I said, I love paper bags. Here's another handy little trick you can do with a paper bag. You can just cut the bottom off of it, and this is storage. You can lay things flat in here, like if you're working on a certain book or whatever, you can put your papers in here and just kind of fold it up like this and use it as a small storage container. I recycle my vegetable scraps. I take them to my neighbor's house, and I magically turn them into tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers. I I contribute to the recycling over there, the composting, and I am blessed with vegetables in the spring. I think what I want to do with this is do my drop, wait, smear technique on this. I think that would work out really well. So that's what I'm going to do. I've chosen some paints. These are Blick Studio acrylics. Somebody gave me these. I've got some hot pink acrylic Craft Smart. This is an interesting thing. This is a fabric writer. So I thought it might be fun to use this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. And we have, of course, some white, just to jazz things up a bit. Let's start with the kind of darker colors, and then we'll work our way to the lighter colors to kind of bring things out and what we're going to do. Okay, the drop smear technique is drop, 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 drop. Wait, 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 wait. And I've never tried this with the Blick Studio acrylic, so I'm hoping this will work. And then after you've waited for a minute, and I know it's hard to wait, then you smear. And it's got a different sort of look to it when you do the waiting part. This paint smells really weird. Sorry, just an observation there. Alright. I have used a lot of paint today, and it's kind of been fun and cool. This is some blue. It looks like maybe a cobalt blue. And we'll do the same thing here. Drop. 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 And we'll just wait a minute. I'm having these issues with my light today. It just seems to be like too bright. I don't know what that's all about. So we're waiting and we're waiting. And when you wait, you get, your colors don't turn out like mud when you're using like the credit card swipe technique. They divide themselves really in a very cool way. So you're not you're almost letting this first layer dry, and then you're swiping. Do you see what happens here? You can see the base color, but then this one's coming in on top of it. I'm not technical enough to explain this at all. I just think it's neat. I like it. Alright, so we've got our darker colors going on. Let's add some lightness to this. I'm just going to turn, yeah, that's not going to be it. Like I said, I'm having a really big time glare issue with this light, y'all, and I do apologize. I've got it in like 100 different positions to try and get the glare off the paper. Try and kick it up a little bit, but I don't think that's going to work either. Just trying to get the glare off. Really sorry, y'all. Let's do some lighter colors. Let's start with a yellow. I'm going to do the same thing. Drop, drop, drop. Okay. I think that it's really important to, talking about Patreon, to support people who are doing art for a living or making it a significant part of their income, or just to show your support to people who are, you know, in my case, Leanne shows me a lot of stuff. She is a great teacher. She's a wonderful motivator. I've learned a lot from her. And to me, supporting her at Patreon is just, it makes my heart feel good. You know, it's like, it just makes me happy. It really makes me happy to be able to support her. She is an awesome teacher. She has great ideas. On top of that, she's funny, and we all need some funny. Okay, do you see what's happening here? It's really pretty, y'all. It has such a beautiful effect. I need to make sure that I am, where is my book? Oh, okay. Because I might not be getting it spread quite far enough. So I better work this way as well. Not that the entire piece of paper has to be covered. All right, let's drop over here. Just a couple drops. These are, and these paints aren't like dropping. They're like more squashing out. Let's let those dry for a minute. Let's go with some, we'll drop some white on. Drop. Oh, yes. We're dropping, dribbling, not squishing all out. That's a technical term, that squishing term. All right, guys, we'll go ahead. We'll try and get this all taken care of. There we go. All right, you can see where I have, I didn't quite let that dry long enough. I'm really trying hard to let those middle drops dry. But you can see how super cool it's looking. It just looks really, really neat. Okay, so let's go ahead and it almost, the white especially, gives you a look almost like a ghostly look. Like there's the head. Here's the head. Here's the ghost. It looks so neat. And then it also picks up the underneath colors of whatever you're working on. Do you see what happens here? Can't explain it. Don't understand it. Think it's cool. Look, that one turned out really good. I would put some black on here, but I'm kind of liking how it's looking. And I don't think I'm gonna, I think that's it. I think that's all I'm gonna do to it. I am going to break out the ye old heating tool, and I was gonna also put some pink on here, but I'm not thinking I'm gonna do that either. I'm gonna break out the heating tool, and then I will be right back, you guys. Okay, my friends, we have, hang on just a second. Sorry, friends. I thought I am not going to record that. I have done it again, and I'm going to think that it was recording when it's not. I just needed to double check. This is the way that our paper turned out. Now, you know, we're thinking that we went from this to that. And all it took was a little bit of acrylic paint. It's not it's not that big of a technique issue, but you can see what happens when you put on that white paint. It lifts the other paint. This was a drop, 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 right? And then when you drop, drop, wait, 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 wait. It's hard to wait, and then you smear it, you get just this really cool effect. So I'm finished with this part of my book cover. The next thing that I did was I used two stamps. I used a face stamp and a star stamp because stars just always make things better. And after I get this on the book, then I'm going to use these two things as embellishments. And that leads me to, I do not have a way to close this book. I might put a closure on it a little bit later on. Let's go ahead and trim up our paper so we can get it on our book. Just so I can work, I'm going to take these inserts out, but I'm going to be careful to, yay, I found it. It's 1988. A 1988 Hallmark address book. Super cool. All right, I'm going to measure, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball things and cut around. So I'll have enough to kind of lap over. I think that'll give me a big enough border. And of course I'm going to trim this up. This is another thing. I used to do this all the time, and I have this certain technique that I use that I'm not remembering at the moment. Let's go ahead and take some off down here. And of course, keep these snazzy strips because they're super pretty. Can use them in another project. Turn this around this way. And go ahead and trim up. Basically, I am going to cover this the same way that I cover a junk journal or a flow journal. Okay. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to have to put her under here and then lap her over like that. I am going to get a significant bit of yellow here, but that's okay. I really don't mind that. And I'm sort of looking to see, do I like it like this? Or should it be the other way? I'm thinking I like it like this, simply because I like the way these kind of ghostly creatures sort of turned out here. So I'm ready to kind of start getting my book down. So let's go ahead and trim the corners. Just kind of do that at an angle. I don't have my tacky glue mixture in here, so what I'm going to do is just use tacky glue straight on this, and then just use a brush with it. I think that'll be alright. And we'll get out our Big Daddy brush. We've got a large area to cover, so we're going to do the cover, and then I'm going to flip it up and smooth some paint onto the spine as well. It's kind of tricky to kind of hold it. You see these books all the time, in thrift stores, and they're usually, I think I paid $1/4 for this one. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to press this down, and then we're going to flip up this side and go ahead and put glue here. Usually with a junk journal or a flow journal, I have a mixture of half and half. So it's half Eileen's tacky glue and half water. And that really does make a very nice adhesive for fabric. And generally, I am putting fabric on my flow journals. All right. Now, let's flip that over. Kind of hit it with the credit card to make sure that we don't have bubbles. There's a bubble right here. Press that out. This is definitely, you know, more challenging to work with than fabric because fabric is quite forgiving. All right, let's go ahead and get our edges down. Same thing, only I am not going to paint these. I like to do the edges first and then the top and the bottom. That seems to work for me. I think everybody finds their own way of covering things. And I've got to kind of figure out what I'm going to do about this part as well, because it needs some extra love. There we go. Now for here, I think what I'm going to do, you guys, it's like I said, I have not done this in a really long time. I think what I'll do is cut this right along that spine edge and then just kind of trim it like that. Do you see what I did? I kind of cut out just a little section right there. And then I'll kind of flip this up and see if I can tuck it under the binder clip right here. It's not tucking under, but I think I can glue it. And then I'll go ahead and even these up as well. Alright, let's do that. I love like not being I am so picky when I make my journals, y'all. I'm so picky. So it's kind of fun to work with this and not be, you know, not be quite so picky about it. I hope you guys can see that okay. Okay, and then we'll do this. And then we'll flip these up. The awesome thing too is that you get some wrinkling. I've done these where when I finished with it, it looked like an old piece of leather. That's the way my Franken journal turned out that I did years ago. Always remember to kind of tuck this in before you flip it up, and that gives you a nice strong corner. There we go. I've got a little bump up right here. Let's give her some extra glue. And extra glue over here as well. There we go. That's better. Alright. Boy, she's really coming up over here, you guys. Come on, baby. Cooperate. There we go. Perfect. Alright. Now we're going to do this edge too. Same technique here. Slice where you see the spine. And then just clip out a little rectangle. And then that's going to be what you fold up. And oddly, it's kind of folding in really well. I'm going to switch the light over to this side. Okay. Now we're going to flip that up. Sometimes the binders right here are a little loose, and you can kind of scoot this piece of paper bag under there, but it's not working like that for this one, for this particular little book. 1988. What were you doing in 1988? I was teaching school. I had a 11-year-old child and a 2-year-old. Is that right? 79. Oh, that's not right. I had a 9-year-old and a 2-year-old. There we go. Math. So hard. So hard. Okay, let's split these up. And we're getting some of that beautiful color from the front. And just kind of, you just sort of have to take your thumb and kind of push this in. You see what I'm doing. I don't want that corner to stick out. And honestly, I would have trimmed it closer, but that never works for me. So I err on the side of too much rather than too little. And there we go. We got a very good start on our old Hallmark book. The next thing that we want to do is be sure that you have, now this is my cover, this is how I want it, and I'm going to, this is tissue paper. I'm taking a brush, not the Big Daddy brush, but just another brush, and I'm going to brush around this image. This is a cat hand technique. It helps you lift that image a little easier from the tissue paper. And I have to be super careful. I don't want anything tearing. There we go. I think I'm going to superimpose her right there, maybe right here, and kind of offset her here. And then I'll deal with the star in just a minute. I need to grab some Mod Podge, so I'll be right back. Alright friends, I am back. Let's go ahead and Mod Podge this down. Mod Podge is made in the USA. I just saw that. That's nice, isn't it? I do want to, I put water on it, but I forgot to tear that part out. I do want to do that. Alright, I need something to put some Mod Podge in. Let me look down here and see if I have anything. Of course I don't, so we're just going to have to wing it. I'm going to put some on the bottom. I am using my Big Daddy brush for this. I'm going to put the face here. I do realize that I kind of covered over that one image that I liked so much, but oh well. So I have to be careful because I'm not, I used just a regular stamp pad, and I don't know what kind of stamp pad I used. It does not, oh okay, whew. I thought, oh, it's going to smear everywhere. Okay. Ah, okay. That turned out pretty good. Love that stamp. And now for the star, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just take our brush. Like I said, this is a handy hint from Cat Hand. And you just kind of brush around it. And then it kind of makes it easier. And it also kind of makes your edges disappear. And there we go. I'm not sure I want to put that on the front. I'm kind of thinking I might like to put it on the back, just like that. I'm going to hold this up while I do it because the front is not dry yet. So as I am finishing up here, consider supporting an artist at Patreon. It's a great thing to do. It makes you feel good. You're supporting art. You're supporting the people who, with Leanne, she does blog posts. She does sneak peeks. She does a really delightful podcast that I like to listen to when I'm driving in my car. So she does like all kinds of super cool things. So if you're considering any kind of support, and it's always a great thing, y'all, to give back, right? All right, I think she's done, you guys. I am happy. Let's stop right here because I need to dry this piece. I'm uncertain what I'm going to do with it, whether I'm going to keep it or put it in the Etsy shop. Thank you guys for listening and hanging out with me. Think about a supply that you have not used in a long time that you might want to drag out and play with today. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Leanne, for posting this cool challenge for July, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.